Coffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams, and we're back with a little live stream today. We'll be discussing the game at the weekend. Yesterday, great results. Wasn't the most thrilling game. We'll get into it, but it was 3 points, job done. Quite surgical, sort of way about business. Then we'll have a look at a couple of rumours knocking about. Discussion of that, and probably going to look a little bit forward to the next game coming up, and just talk about that. And firstly, I'd say hello to everyone watching the stream. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all still celebrating from the win yesterday, and I hope you're all keeping well, obviously. So obviously we'll start. I think it's best to start with the game, which was a really, really good. Like, it was good in bits, and then it was quite boring in bits. The crowd at times didn't seem that interested, as well, which has sparked a bit of a debate on Twitter. But I mean, personally, Norwich was one of those teams we had to beat. We didn't want a banana peel. It sort of had that vibe about it going into it, where like people were a bit worried. You know, there was that they've lost 15 Premier League games on the bounce. Here come Everton type meme. And I must admit, I don't know if it's the reaction on Twitter, that meme coming out, but it had that feel of like, we're gonna go in and Norwich are gonna get their first win. Just because of obviously the negativity of the two losses as well, and QPR one was a bit of a howler, and obviously the depleted squad as well playing into our minds. But yeah, it was very surgical. It was 3 points. It's what we needed. Just move on, because we've got some really tough games coming up. Just want to say, Doucoure obviously got a goal yesterday as well from the assist from Gray, but fantastic player, really, really fantastic player. He, under Benitez this season, is so far leaps and bounds above the role he was asked of last year under Ancelotti. And he looks like the player that we wanted from Watford. Not to say he was bad last year, he just was restrained a little bit more. But the rumours of him being able to go forward under Rafa Benitez have clearly worked. And he's coming up with goals. He's getting involved more. It's just fantastic to watch Doucoure. He's a real joy to watch. And obviously Andros Townsend scored the penalty. Again, Andros Townsend, another player that just is surprising me and a couple of other fans. He seems to be popping up with goals and assists left, right, and centre. So we'll get into Townsend's goal. We'll get into Doucoure's, then we'll get into some of the stats from the game, because I do like a good stat. Just like to say hello to Erwin, Jake Banks, Inky. Nice to see you all in the chat. Yeah, I mean, firstly, I think it's best to start with a penalty. It was a penalty. I saw, I think it was Farks made some comments about it, going, it is a penalty. I thought it was anyway. I thought it was a bit of a silly challenge by Kabak. I don't think he needed to do that. I think the ball was sort of going away from Allen, sort of, because he was chasing after the loose ball. I thought it was going away from him. But I didn't think there was any need for Kabak to kick him down. You know, I mean, I think it was a bit silly from him, but that doesn't surprise me. I wasn't impressed with Kabak when he was at Liverpool last season. He hasn't really impressed me, and I don't think he's a very good centre back. But again, gave it away. Townsend's penalty was a good penalty as well. It was fair play to Townsend because he was unfazed, but it actually took quite a while between the incident and the spot kick. There was a lot of time, for him to sort of have some doubts, have some, nerves, but he handled himself really well. It was a good penalty. Moving on from that, then we had obviously Doucoure's goal. Fantastic, really, really good. Obviously, McLean is caught by Allen, and then Gray surges forward, slipping it into him. And Damari Gray again getting involved, another player that's really impressed me this season. But yeah, it was a really, really good goal. It's nice to see Gray get on the assist sheet. Again, he's another one. He's up there with Townsend. Really impressed me so far this season. Demarai Gray looks like he could be a steal. He's only 25. He's got a couple more years. He's got a lot to prove. Still a lot to, he could still improve. Looks to be a bit of a steal. Certainly under Benitez anyway, the way Benitez has got him playing, he seems to be one. So fair play to, the manager and Demarai Gray. But yeah, I mean, the most important thing in the game, looking at stats now, when I watched it, it didn't feel as exciting, but it was it was, like I keep saying, surgical. Inky's put here, Wormy, nice to see you, mate. He's put Kabak was a cop, he deserves to be penalised, coming in 10 metres of Gunnison Park. And I just don't think he's a very good player. Doucoure has been one of the players of the season of any team this year so far. Yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic, Doucoure. There's not enough words that can go into how well he's played, in my opinion. Looking at the stats now, the expected goals was 2 for us, which, we scored 2. So they had more possession, but that's expected. They tend to try and keep as much possession. Their expected goals was like 0.67. I must admit, I didn't see an awful lot that I thought would trouble Pickford. We had 11 shots to their 10, 10 chances to their 8. It was. There's not much else I could sort of say to describe it from the stats, because like watching it, it felt like there were long moments of just nothing. There were a couple of moments where we looked like we were on the attack. It was a couple of balls from from our team, where they were just missing that killer edge, a killer ball, and we could have been really through. But again, I'm not going to come on here and complain because we won. And I just thought there were some times where I was like, Godfrey nearly scored as well. Or so I thought it was in. It was straight at the keeper, but that's the type of short range that you just need a touch on it and it could go in. And Krull afterwards was having a bit of a joke with him, had him in a friendly headlock laughing. But he nearly got a goal against his former team. I thought he was quite unlucky there, Godfrey, to not score. But so the stats sort of like, I think the expected goals is a perfect one. It was a bit of we just did the job, and I think most Everton fans will be happy at that. We just did the job. That's what we needed to do. Get the points on the board. Look ahead now at the next couple of games. That win takes us up to 5th, by the way. We're level on points with City, Chelsea, United. Obviously, West Ham, Brighton are still to play, who could go above us, sorry. They could actually go top of the Premier League if they beat Crystal Palace tomorrow. But 13 points, we are level with City, Chelsea, United. I don't think I know obviously the Villa game was a bit of a downer and the QPR game was, but so far this start of the season isn't looking that bad. Obviously injuries are going to come into it, and we've got United next, which is a big worry. But there are cracks forming in Manchester United. So, there are cracks forming. They're not the unstoppable force people had them down to. I personally think it's the manager. I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is good enough for that team and that stature. But as long may his reign continue, because seeing United sort of cracking I quite enjoy it a little bit. So long may that continue. But it shows positive signs for us because I think they're beatable. West Ham showed this. Villa showed this, although Villa beat us 3-0. So, but they are beatable, and I think Benitez will set out in a way that will try to get at least a point against them. A point at Old Trafford, I'd be very happy with, by the way. I'd be really happy with a point at Old Trafford. You won't hear me complaining if we come back and we've scraped the draw. I don't think that's an awful result. Obviously, it'd be nice to beat them, but it's not an awful result. You've got to be realistic in all of this, haven't you? They're a good, they are still a good team. Varane's a very good centre back. Jadon Sancho had great numbers last year in the Bundesliga, and obviously Ronaldo is Ronaldo. Pogba seems to have found some form since the Euros. He's been really great. Fernandez, another good player. I mean, I did see rumours that the penalty was missed on purpose because they don't rate the manager. I don't believe any of that. I think it was on TikTok or something. I think that's social media doing it for the the clicks and views. Don't believe that, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, if there is dissent in the ranks, that could only benefit us. But I don't think this has been a bad start to the season so far. The jury's still out because we've not. Obviously, United will be a tough game, but it's Villa. What we do against West Ham, what we do against Wolves, Tottenham. The top six is interesting, but the teams around us as well. So like Villa, we've already lost. Leicester, who are having a bit of a bad start to the season. Interested to see what we do against them. Because not only do we need to beat the smaller teams, but we need to try and take some points. Not obviously we can't win every game. Take some points from the top six if we can, and try and beat the teams around us. So West Ham is the perfect example. We should really be trying to beat West Ham, or at least beating them at home because they're the team around us. They're where we wanted to be last season in Europe. We've got to be beating those type of teams, I think, to push on. But obviously, it's all dependent on the squad. Obviously, we do miss Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I'll get through a couple of the players now and talk about them. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin we missed, Richarlison we missed. So it's all this season will be pinned on. I know I came on the channel and said I think we'll finish 10th and 12th. I still stick by that, and I think injuries will be the reason we sort of drop off if we do have a drop off. Looking at a couple of your comments here though before we get into the player ratings. Mitchell Balson's put Gray is easily worth 30 million. I mean, by the time he's done, if he carries on this form, he will be made. That's some, he's on some player. Inky's put, let's be real, Norwich did play decently. No ambition. Norman and Krul were their only good players. Wormy's put shame about the fullbacks. Yeah, that is a shame. While we're on about fullbacks in Norwich, how did you all find Max Aarons? I thought he had a good game. Really like the look of him. Would happily have him at Everton because he's still young as well. He's still a bit raw. I'd happily have him. I was impressed. Not overly impressed, but like don't get me wrong, he didn't, wasn't the next Cafu, but I was impressed with him to an extent. And I think he'll do a job for us, a really good job. Inky's put, if we just give United pens, they'll boot them over in the world. Elon Musk may have to use Fernandez's strats to get on Mars. Yeah, it was I will say this. Apparently, I didn't watch it, but apparently Ronaldo wanted it and Fernandez took it off him. I'm going to say this now. Never, in the same way Noble coming on to take West Ham's penalty, I've never seen a player come on and score it. I've never seen a player dispute a penalty, take it off somebody who's the rightful penalty taker or would have been, which I think Ronaldo probably is now at United, and then score it. It gave me proper shades of Morales. I think it was at West Brom. Did it to Leighton Baines and missed it. It gave me shades of that. It's very rare you see somebody go, oh no, I want to take it, make that much of a fuss, and then actually score it, because you're adding pressure on yourself. Then you've acted like a bit of a divvy. So Eugene's put, I think Everton will get 3 points against United at Old Trafford because Aston Villa won at Old Trafford yesterday. But Villa beat us 3-0, so I'm a bit hesitant on going that far. I think we could maybe get a point, and I'd be happy with that. I'm not going to complain at a point at Old Trafford. Inky's put Aarons and Brandon Williams were both really sharp, but seemed to cower a bit, certainly against Rondon. I was impressed with Brandon Williams as well. I don't think United will sell him because they quite rate him, but impressed with him. I think there was one point where it was him and Godfrey. And he left he outpaced Godfrey, which is, quite surprising because Godfrey's quite fast. But then he shoved Godfrey and Godfrey fell on the floor. And I think Mina had to sort of cover, but he was already going out Williams. But at that point, I was like, Brandon Williams is quite fast. And he's a bit tenacious. I don't know if that's because he's young. But when he was at United, I saw a couple of challenges where I'm like, he's got a bit of a bite about him. I like Brandon Williams a lot. I think he's a good little player. But I don't think United are ever gonna. Well, not now anyway. I think they see him potentially as usable. But Max Aarons I was impressed with as well. I thought he had a decent game. Rondon, I will get into the players, but Rondon, I did think gave away too many free kicks high up the field. I don't know if that's because he's just. I don't know if that's because he's just a big lad and he pushes his weight around. Wormy Spoons put Godfrey's 80%. Yeah, that has to be pointed out. Godfrey's still recovering from COVID-19, and luckily, touch wood, I've never had it, so I don't know the afterline effects. But I know that some people say that it can still stay with you even once it's gone. So I don't know if that's another part of it, or just the fact he's got to get his fitness back up. So I'm not. That was no criticism of Godfrey. I was just more impressed with Brandon Williams. It's not a knock on Godfrey. I know his fitness is going to be an issue for a bit. Inky's put Martinez played with Bruno's mind. It was funny. I saw the theories of that as well. He was sort of getting in Bruno's head. I love it when keepers do that. I think it's fantastic. Matthew Murray's put, I think Max Aarons would be a really good for us right now. Yeah, I do as well, mate. I think he's good going forward, which is something we've always had fullbacks that go forward. You know, Baines and Seamus Coleman's been that one on the right for like 10 years. But we seem to like playing with our fullbacks. That's just the way Everton do it. And I think it's important we get a fullback that can do that. And Max Aarons would do that. Inky's put, you do have to remember that he has come from China, where you give a free kick to 1 centimetre and they do a Timo Werner. Free kick 1 centimetre out and they do a Timo Werner. Had COVID and still suffering the effects on the joints. Yeah, that's what I mean. Godfrey, I'm not judging because it will take him a while to recover properly from it. So here or there, I was just saying Brandon Williams was incredibly fast to outpace him. And it looked like Williams was fast in that moment as well. I know what you're saying about the Chinese. Sometimes I was just like, the ball was always going out and he'd shouldered and the ref had gave it. And I was just like, is there any need? Like, you were never getting the ball. But he's not fully fit either, Rondon. So, I'm not going to I don't want to fully criticize him because I know people will say, he's not fully fit. I understand that. In an ideal world, he wouldn't have got games anyway because Calvert-Lewin would have been there. But moving on to we'll do the player, because we've mentioned players now, so we might as well do the player ratings. I thought Pickford actually had an all right game. I'm going to give Pickford a 7. A little bit worried when he pulled up with his shoulder. That was a bit with me. We definitely need him for the United game, so it's a little bit concerned to see Pickford sort of do that. But hopefully it's sort of sorted. He'll rest now. But yeah, I was a little bit worried about seeing him pull up with his shoulder. Godfrey at right back. I know he sort of came under a bit of criticism in the QPR game. I actually thought he had an all right game. Like we've just said, he's not fully fit. You've got to give him some slack. I actually thought he had an all right game. I'm going to give him 7. I'm going to give him a 7, 6.5. 7. Mina, I'm going to give a 7.5. I thought Mina was really good. I think he's our best centre back at this minute. But he's a fantastic player, and I thought he had a good game. Michael Keane, I'm going to give a 6.5 to. I thought he had an all right game himself. Luca Dean, I'm going to give a 7 to. Was a bit better from Luca Dean. He's had a tough start to the season, but he seems to have. He had, I think he played well. There were a couple of balls into the box that I liked seeing a bit more of that maybe. His delivery was a little bit better, but I'll give him a 7. Townsend, I'm going to give an 8. Not just obviously for the penalty and the goal, but again, just works hard, really works hard, and I appreciate that. He sort of said that in his interview, and I know a lot of players say stuff when they sign for clubs, mainly to appease fans because that's the whole point. And I think it's a buzzword is, I'll work hard, I'll fight for the badge. It's very buzzwordy, but it's very rare players do that. And Townsend made that promise and so far is living up to it in the fact that he does work really hard. So I appreciate that as well from him, as well as the fact that he's got, I can't remember the exact number, but a lot of goals and assists as well in his first couple of games. So he's already making an effect. But he works hard, and you know what? That's at the least what I expect from a footballer is to try their best. Doucoure, I'm gonna give a 9 to. Absolutely fantastic. Runs our midfield. Rolls Royce in the midfield. Absolutely bosses it. Can defend, can pass, can move, can score. He's just an incredible player. Looking at some of his stats here, he just does really well at just keeping our midfield just collected. And I think he's really good with Alan because Alan's the more defensive, tenacious, bit like a terrier. But Doucoure's the bigger, imposing, can use his strength and his physical presence. Doucoure's an absolute monster. Alan, I'm going to give a 7-2. Thought he played well. I really like him. Obviously, he won the penalty as well. Like I said, I don't think Kabak needed to kick him because I think the ball was already going past maybe Alan, but he won it. And it's sometimes I think we forget that Alan can be quite good moving forward with the ball as well and carrying the ball because he's our more defensive midfielder. But there's been a couple of moments where I've watched him this season and last where I've like, there's a decent ball carrier in there. You're just obviously better defensively, and that's what we're going to use you as mainly. But there's a decent ball carrying midfielder in there somewhere. Iwobi, I'm going to give a 6.5. I thought he played quite well again. Not massive. It's not the best game I've seen him play this season, but it's not the worst I've ever seen him play. I'm going to give him, 6.5. Damari Gray, 7.5, really good again. He got the assist, obviously, but he just looks so direct. He plays with intent. A really, really fantastic player. Solomon Rondon, I'm going to give a 6-2. I know people go, he's not fully fit and all that. For me, and just because he's not fully fit doesn't mean I can give him a 7. I can't give him a 7 and go, he didn't play bad, but he's, I'm going to have to be fair and give him a 6. I get that he's not fully fit, but I can't go, he gets a 6.5 because he's not fully fit, even though he played, like, in my opinion, a 6 game. That's not how, I don't think that's how ratings work. So 6 for me, but I'm not saying he's awful yet because the jury's still out. He's not fully fit. I'll judge him when he's fitter and have my full judgment at the end of the season, like I will with a lot of the stuff, like the manager and stuff. I will wait till the end of the season. So far, Benitez has impressed me. Rondon will probably impress me in moments, but I'm going to wait for a full thing on them at the end of the season because I think that's a sensible thing to do. But yeah, they're my ratings. I thought it was an okay game. Like I said, it was more surgical. We went on with our job, made sure no banana slips, and that was the last thing I wanted was a banana slip against these because Norwich look really like they're gone. They're gone in the water, done and dusted, and we can't afford a slip up like that. In my opinion, anyway, I think coming off the 2 results we had, it wouldn't have looked good. It'd have looked really, really bad. So, but we have moving on. We've got some rumours and transfer news and stuff like that as well, which is always a bit of fun. We'll have a look through some of them. Have a look at the must hears. I'm sure a couple of you have got them as well. Inky normally pops in with a couple of rumours and stuff. So we'll have to wait and see about that. But yeah, 1 minute. I'm just going to get the thingy up. I'm just going to get the rumour mill up for you guys. Looking at this now, Pickford had 2 good saves versus Norman. Yeah, I thought Pickford played really well. I was really nervous when I saw his shoulder injury. It's not what we need before the United game, is it? It's a bit, so yeah. But I'm hoping he's okay. First bit of news today, though, is obviously it's surrounding Luis Diaz. Obviously, we were going in for him in the summer, didn't get him, unfortunately, and he's had a really good start to the season, which is so Everton. It's the same as wanting Dumfries and saying we want Dumfries before the Euros because his price will go up and he has a really good Euros and goes to Inter Milan. It's so Everton, isn't it? It's what we do best. But the rumour is coming from Marca that have said that should Everton show reinterest in January or next summer, the 24-year-old scored 5 in his opening 7, and Porto now want a stratospheric transfer sale for him, which could obviously complicate us with financial fair play. We'd have to wait till next summer possibly, which means we could miss out. It's just so Everton, isn't it? I mean, it's just one of them. He seems to be having a really good season. I hope we do end up getting him, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Makes me a little bit nervous, but I mean, you guys will let me know in the comments. Is he a player that you like? I think a couple of you will say yeah. What do you think is stratospheric? Because in the days of modern football as well, the prices are always increasing. What actually is expensive in modern day football? I think we were rumoured to be trying to get him for 30 million. something like that, around that fee. So if it's stratospheric, I think we could be looking at 60, 70 being the price tag they're sticking on him, which I would say is a lot of money to sort of spend on one player, when I think next summer we need to go out and buy of um, a lot of players in a lot of areas, and I think spending most of your budget on one player, unless they were a very, very good player, could be a bit of a risk. Just because we need depth, and I think that's what will cost us. Inky's put that he's got a site called News Now. That's came up. I'm reading through the Echo right now. But News Now I have got as a separate page that I'll probably look at in a bit. Moji's put Longstaff on the January window. I don't want Sean Longstaff. I don't think he's very good. I don't think he's the better player. I think Matty Longstaff is the better player out the two, and I don't even think he's that good of a player. I don't think they're worth getting. In all honesty, I'm not keen on it. I'm really not keen on it. But it's one of them. I also don't think they do much different to what Tom Davis does. So what would be the point in buying them? I'd like us to get a proper midfielder, not Longstaff. The other rumor is that Sanchez is hoping to fulfill a dream move. Obviously, this is Jorge Sanchez from Club America, the right back, who said he was flattered with the moves to a European club, aka us. He said that he loved that dream move to happen. He said, "I'm doing well. I'm working humbly with my feet on the ground. I'm working hard to become a starter, to earn a place in the national team." He told Medio Tempo. He said, "I must continue with the same desire, and it motivates me to hear my name mentioned in Europe, which is a dream I want to fulfill." I will say this. I think if we have the money next season, we're not going to go get him. I think he was we need a right back. We're running out of options. I don't think we will go get him next season. My worry is that he sort of can't get in the Club America team. He's not a starter in that team. So, and I think if we've got the money, we need a starter, not a backup to Seamus Coleman. We need a starter, and Seamus Coleman will be the backup to him, like an understudy, like a Max Aarons, not somebody who will play another. Seamus Coleman will be our number one right back next season with a backup, because even if you don't buy into Seamus was needing a new right back and you think Coleman's good, eventually he will be too old and you need a passing of the torch. And it's too late to wait till that moment where people are going, God, Coleman's not got the legs. Let's get in someone, because people will be too aware then. You need sort of to sort of mold somebody. So I hope we don't do that. That'd really I can see us. I personally think push for Max Aarons, especially if Norwich go down, which I think they're going to. But we'll have to wait and see that. Moving on though, there's not got a lot on here. Kevin Campbell's talking about the injury woes at Everton. I think we all know that. Andros Townsend said he loves life at Everton though. That's good to see. He said he's loving it here. I mean, he's proven that on the field. Fantastic player. This one will get you going now. It is James Rodriguez is one of the top earners in world football, according to a latest report. The Colombian international left the Blues to join Qatari side Al Rayyan, where he will get 12 million per year. Oh my gosh. Semena have reported this sum places him alongside some of the biggest names in the game regarding earnings. For example, Paul Pogba is on 12 million, 12.8 million a year. He's on 10.3 million pounds, 12 million euros. Pogba's on 12.8 million pounds, while Suarez and Eden Hazard both received 12 million pounds. So he's only a couple of million behind them. It's a lot of money, but I don't think anyone's shocked. Qatar have the money. The sides there have the money. No one's disputing that. That is a lot of money. It's certainly more money than he was getting in Everton, I can sort of guarantee. But yeah, I mean, he's gone now, so it's not not an awful much point talking about him. But yeah, it's a shocking wage, and I don't think he deserves to be up there with some of the ones mentioned. I think this is the last one the Echo are covering, and I'll go on to news now and have a look at a couple of those ones. I'll try and pick out the ones that I think have got actual weight in that though. But it's the Isco's future remains in the balance. Real Madrid midfielder Isco is said to be unhappy with the situation at the Spanish club, having fallen out of favour in recent years. The 29-year-old has mainly been limited to substitute appearances. And he's out of contract next summer. Calcio Mercato said that he's no longer central to Madrid's project and remains unhappy. Everton were linked with the former Malaga man in the transfer window. I mean, Isco would, if you'd offered me this before last week, I'd have been like, now that we've got rid of James Rodriguez, who's a very good player for us and a very creative player, whether you agree with getting rid of him or not, you can't doubt his talent. It does sort of leave us in a position where we need another number 10, maybe creative player, because I don't think Damari Gray's a number 10, and I don't think Iwobi is. We need someone else. Maybe Isco's the answer. I'd like to see us go for younger and stop giving 29-year-old players nice big wages and contracts that they're going to, happily just sit there with. I'd like us to go with younger players, but I mean, I'm not running Everton. You let me know if you think Isco will be a good player. It'd be nice to get someone else's opinions. He was a good player at one point. My only worry is that it's another player, the wrong age of 27, that, will be earning quite a lot of wages. I don't think he's going to come cheap. So that's another worry for us. Before I go on to the other couple of rumours, I'll read some of your comments, because obviously I've asked a lot of questions in that time, and you've all answered, which is brilliant. So I'll have a look through a couple of these now. Inky said he likes Luis Diaz, but the wages are too high. Saw someone say he's valued as 63 to 82, almost double our record transfer. I did say 60 to 70 is stratospheric. Yeah, I think that is probably what they'll be asking for. And that is a lot of money. Moji put Rafa wants him better than Delph. Yeah, but to be fair, and I saw one of the lads in one of the chats and input this, you can't use a not very good player as a reason to sign another not very good player. Like, that's the sort of attitude that's got us in trouble going on with he's better than him. We don't want that. I don't think Delph's a very good player, and I don't think we should be aiming for players who are better than Delph. We should be aiming for players who are up there with Doucoure and Allen, so they're a decent backup. Sort of look at your best players and try and get players round that caliber. Don't look at your worst and then go, well, anyone better than him will do. We need players that are all good, even if we bring them on. Like, if Allen gets injured or Doucoure for like 6 games, we need a player that if he comes on will be as good as them, maybe slightly less, but not. I think in that too, if you took a Longstaff and put him in for Doucoure, I don't think we'd be getting the results. He's not Doucoure's level, and we need a player in that. That's just my opinion anyway. I think you should always have players that will always fight to maybe be in the team and could be in the team on any given day, not just, you don't want players in that role where you go, nah, well, they won't get a game unless he's injured because they're not very good, because it's just, I don't think it helps when an injury happens. Eugene's put, I think Rafa will get rid of Kenny in the January window and get some money from the sale from Kenny. Yeah, I think John Joe Kenny's Everton career is up. Time is up on that. And I think he'll go. The problem is who's going to buy him. That's the other problem with this. We'd all like to say, get rid of blank, 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 and blank. But someone's got to want to buy them. Same with Fabian Delph. Who's going to buy him? Who's going to buy John Joe Kenny? I mean, he had a good spell at Schalke when he went there, but obviously they've been relegated to Bundesliga 2, and I don't know what their financial situation might be like after that, but they were in a really bad state the last 2 years. Jojo is really poor, earning a living playing football. Yeah, John Joe Kenny's not impressed me at all, which is sad to say, because obviously, he's a local lad, supports the club. You'd like them to work, but it's sad to see, but I agree. I think he's put, some journalists proposed the idea of Townsend, Gomez and 40 million. That wouldn't be awful. I wouldn't be against that. Towsend's career at Everton, I think, is probably up as well. I think he's put, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care about. Yeah, exactly. He's gone. But what James Rodriguez is sort of, it's a lot of money, and I don't know if don't forget, guys, to like the stream though. I appreciate it massively if you do. So just, it takes 2 seconds, costs you nothing, but it'll make my day, make my weekend. So please do. Moji's put, can Rafa get a tune out of Tosin? I don't know. It's yet to be seen. That, if he can, maybe he rejuvenates him, but I don't think Tosin is anywhere near the level we should be aiming for. But if you can get some use out of him while he's still here, that would be good, because he's not going anywhere now till January at the latest, and they reckon he's not far from fully fit. So, well, not fully fit, but back from his injury. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. If you can't get rid of him, we might as well try and get some use out of him. Aurier in yet from semi-chart? No, mate. I don't think. I think Benitez sort of dismissed that he was interested in Aurier. Everton aren't really pushing for him. I don't think they. I think they're going to wait. In all honesty, I think they're going to try and stay with what they've got now till the end of the season, or at least January. Wormies, but don't want Isco. Hammers, but not as good. Yeah, that's fair enough. He will come with big wages. Irwin's put Sean Longstaff linked tonight. I really hope not, mate. I don't rate Sean Longstaff at all. I just don't think he's better than what we've got, which is the underlying issue. Rafa said he don't want Aurier. Yeah, I thought he had. I thought he'd said that. Irwin's put Isco would be awful. Moji's put we could do better than Aurier. Yeah, I mean, if Benitez has said he doesn't want him, then, that's. I thought he'd said that in a recent press conference, and it looks like we might go for a sort of wait to get a fullback. Irwin's put, should I change my name? I'm possibly, mate. It's possibly time now. But Michael Ball reckons Patterson would be a good signing. His attitude is as bad as Keane's. Did you see him get subbed? I didn't, mate. I don't watch a lot of Scottish football. I'm not gonna lie to you. But if his attitude's bad, then if it's another Moise Keane, then it won't go down well with fans, which will ultimately. I always think if you don't have fans on your side, you are doomed. Same with Delph last 2 years ago now, was it, when the DMs were leaked with him and that fan. Once the fans don't like you and they've decided your career you will struggle, because once you lose the fans, they're hard to regain. Especially if it's an attitude problem. Like I think as a fan base we can deal with mistakes and we're happy to accept from mistakes, but I think attitude problems is something we don't accept, and we just want players to try. It's all we ask for. When we put Ayor isn't for sale. No, he'd be a good player though. Ayor. I can't pronounce his name. Dunham might die, Delph. Be funny to watch him go on a free. I think he will go on a free, honestly. I don't see anyone buying him. Semi's put, we need to win something under Gaffer before we declare Revolution. I like that, Semi. Just really level-headed. But someone has said we've won the Florida Cup, so. But I like that. Really, I agree with that. We just got to, Owen's put Townsend's contracts up next summer. He's another one I think could leave on a free as well. There's a couple of lads I can see going on free. Happy birthday to Idrissa Gana again. Now that's a midfielder that I miss. Semi's put it here, miss him. That's a player I really liked. Gana Guay, fantastic player, really nice. He just got it as well. His attitude was fantastic. He's a great, and he scored the other day, I think. So fair play to him. Aurier mentioned was just having a laugh, not serious. Okay, fair enough. I don't think the Aurier thing has got much legs. I think he'll probably go to, I don't know, like Saudi or Qatar. I think that was one of the clubs rumoured anyway for him. Maybe. How much did Mourinho like him at Tottenham? Maybe Roma. It depends how much Mourinho liked him at Tottenham, though. Inky's put, supposedly Patterson was so annoyed he threw his studs into the fans. I don't know if that was home or away. See, that won't fly here. Our fans won't accept that type of. I don't think Rangers fans are going to accept that type of behaviour. Women's, but I think it's okay. Inky's, but we're still interested with Aaron Ramsey. I don't want Aaron Ramsey. I don't know about a couple of you. I think there's a current trend with the players I'm saying I don't want and the players we're linked with, and a lot of it is that they're over a certain age. They've had their best years, and they're not going to be cheap. Aaron Ramsey's not going to be sitting there on a pittance. He'll be on nice wages. He also, if it doesn't work out, will then be too old to sell on. He will then leave Everton on a free transfer, and we will have lost a lot of money. I think we've got to stop going for players who've had their best years and at the wrong age of 26. See, Wormy's put it now, and this is a player. We were linked with Zakaria, and that would have been decent. That would have been a really great transfer. Now that's the type of players I wish we were more linked with. But it's one of them where I don't run Everton, unfortunately. So if I did, we wouldn't be going for some of these players. I forgot to mention when we were on about the game that Lewis Dobbin obviously came on, and Anthony Gordon, who I thought played quite well as well when he came on. How did you guys rate? I'd quite like to see a bit more of Lewis Dobbin as well, or Ellis Sims, especially with our striker situation at the minute. Probably not against United. I think we'll end up sticking with Rondon unless he's knackered. But obviously, they reckon Calvert-Lewin won't be back till after the international break. And if Richarlison isn't back by then, obviously, if he's back, we'll probably stick him up front. But I enjoyed watching Dobbin and Anthony Gordon. I'd like to see a bit more of the young lads when we can this season. Obviously, it's a bit tricky now because the Carabao Cup would have been a great time to do that against lower sides. So maybe the FA Cup, if we get some nice ties early on, some lower league teams, that might be quite nice to do. Play a couple of the younger lads, give them a chance. I think that'd be quite nice. But we'll have to wait and see on what he does for that. We'll have to see what he does for the FA Cup. I hope we get a decent cup run to make up for the lack of a cup run in the Carabao Cup. I mean, as long as we can avoid a Premier League team that's in the top 6, I think we could. And Rafa sorts the mentality issue out at us, because I think it comes down to mentality. But looking at some of the other rumours floating around the world today, we have a few here. Michael Ball said that Bellingham is reminiscent of Wayne Rooney, the way he burst on the scene. And he's linked with Liverpool. I don't know why that's on the Everton page, other than obviously Michael Ball. But, apparently both Everton and West Ham won 400k a week midfielder in January. They're also meant to battle for the 30-year-old in the Serie A. I think this will be Aaron Ramsey, probably. It is Aaron Ramsey, which we've already discussed. I don't think Aaron Ramsey's the right type of player. 400k is a lot of money a week. He's 30 years old. If he doesn't work out, no one's going to buy him off us. It will be a tale as old as time, and it's something we should really learn to, keep our. We sort of need to learn from our mistakes and stop offering contracts like this. I've just seen the Sean Longstaff now as well. I don't think I'd like Sean Longstaff. Is there any? Here's a question for you in the stream. Are there any players you'd quite like us to go get that, in an ideal world, if you could? Obviously, I've said players I don't want. There are a couple of players I'd like us to try and get that we were linked with, Sakari being one. But let us know your players that you'd quite like us to go get, because there must be some of you out there who, when you load up Football Manager, for example, you go out and buy your players. Who would you quite like to see us get? Who you think obviously you think would fit the system as well. There's no point, buying players that wouldn't suit our system. But there must be some, like Sakari would have been a really, really nice player, but when we saw him linked, it almost seemed a little bit too good to be true. So and I'll read your comments now as well, as always. Connor Owens asked, Connor, is a realistic signing at right back that you want? Realistically, now, no. Max Aarons, yes, in the summer, and I think if Norwich go down, we won't be the only team in for him, is my issue, and that's where I worry about the realism of it. We won't be the only team coming in, but I would quite like Max Aarons, and I think if they go down, he's not unrealistic. It's not unrealistic that they'd accept a bid from us. It's maybe slightly unrealistic that he might pick us if a top 4 club came in for him. It depends. Obviously, you'd hope Godfrey has a bit of a pull because they were friends and obviously played together. Inky Spot, I think we see a pattern. They're nearly on state pension. It's this older players sort of signing. I just don't think it's a very good model. I'd much prefer us to buy younger players with a bit of hunger, a bit of determination, and a bit of potential, and then they have their, have their growth with us. And by then, if we do this, hopefully they will either stay with us and we would be in a position that we can compete for things, or even if unfortunately they outgrow us and we're not quite where they want to be in their career and they leave, we will earn big money back from them. Buy young, sell high when they're a bit older, and we will earn big money back from them, and that will help us massively because we won't be in a financial fair play sort of issue then, will we? Because we'll have sold players on for profits because they were young, they've developed, they've grown, they've left. It will avoid all of this. We really do need to learn from our mistakes. And I think Rafa Benitez said that, he said in his press conference he wants good players. I don't have the exact quote, to be honest. I could probably find it now for us, but that's sort of how I'd like us to be sort of mindful in the window. And I think it's the right way forward for any football club, not just us. Any football club should be aiming to have that type of layout of transfers. No football club should sort of go to spend, really big money on old players that leave and then it doesn't achieve anything. I'm trying to get the quote, but it was along the lines of he said he wants to buy good quality players, and not not naff, which I am all for. Obviously, he'd have to work with the director of football and the owners as well. But that would make me happy if that was the way we did our business. I can't find a quote, and I don't want to waste too much time looking at it. But yeah, it was. If I remember rightly from skim reading it, it was that he wants a certain category of players in the squad. I think it was when he was on about Aurier, but I mean, some of you might have already said you have it, but yeah, I can't. I'm not going to waste too much time trying to find it now. It's not in the grand scheme of things. It's not that much to get hung up on. Semi-charged but spot on. Have to get away from that sort of signing. Owen's put Gordon played well. I hope to see Sims soon. Yeah, I'm excited to see Sims. Obviously because his goal scoring record is very good. I think he played okay at Blackpool. He got goals. And Anthony Gordon, again, very impressed with him. I don't know why it never worked at Preston. I don't know why they didn't play him more. I've got a friend who's a Preston fan, and he just couldn't understand it either. Yeah, I really don't understand it. But Gordon, it looks good. He's pacey as well. He's direct. He's a bit like Gray in terms of once he's got the ball, he runs forward with it. I think Gordon should start against teams that lack a bite. Yeah, I agree, mate. Especially if we can get FA Cup games, we should do that. When's the midfield kid back? Wormy, I'm not too sure who the midfield kid is. Do you mean Shabamin or watched him? Semi's watched him all last season when he was with the Pool. Can't wait till he's truly fit. I've got a couple of friends that are Blackpool fans as well, and he said he really liked them. He really likes Sims. They both said they really liked him and would welcome him back on loan in January, which is a good sign. It's a good sign if they want a player back. Obviously, that's the way forward, loaning him out to a championship club, which I think is sort of the level he needs to be at now and play in to progress. He can't stay in the under-23s, knocking in goals, getting more goals in games by a mile and not progressing. Inky's put, we've got tough fixtures coming the end of November, December. Why do we always play Burnley on Boxing Day? The last game we did, though, on Boxing Day was a very good win, so if we can sort of reclaim that sort of victory over them, I'll be very happy with that. Sean Collins has put West Ham will only sign a striker if no one wants Ramsey. They need a striker. They do need a striker. Sean Collins has put he wants Max Aarons. Max Aarons fan club here. I much would love him at Everton. I think he's put a quite like Aarons or a young Man U midfielder that was at Nottingham Forest last season on loan. Do you have the name of him, or just because that young midfielder isn't enough for me to go off there? Wormy's put Mbabu. Mbabu would be a great signing. Akone, Wamingatuka, and Zakaria. They're very good selections, and Babu's very good. Ikone and Bamba as well. Jonathan Bamba would be a good signing. I like him. I like the look of him. Silas, that's I was gonna say he's changed his name now. It's not Wamangatuka. It's something to do with his agent or something. It's Silas. It's Silas something. I can't remember. But yeah. Zakaria would also be very good. He's such a physical presence. He would James Garner. Like, cheers, Inky. Yeah, I mean, a younger player like that as well, he's got a bit of hype behind him, would be bad. Wouldn't be bad. Semi's put, is it too late to sign Sidibe? I think so. I think so. When he's put, he tried, but he said he had to wear socks. Sidibe said no, thank you. I can't believe that, they did that. Speaking of which, I don't know if anyone saw it, but Aidan McGeady spoke about Samuel Eto'o and him getting ready on the touchline, and that was quite interesting. The fact he doesn't wear his socks and pads and boots, and he only, like, if he's subbed, he only puts them on when he's been told to come on. And that Graham Jones was telling him to hurry up, and he was like to Aidan McGeady, "Who is that?" Which is funny, but also slightly worrying. But the humour is there in it. It's just the fact that, like, you can imagine it, Graham Jones going, "We need you on," and Samuel Eto'o taking a year to get his shin pads on. But yeah. Moji put getting rid of Walcott and Bernard and replacing them with Gray and Townsend. What a difference. Yeah, I think that's a really clever one. Bernard, I thought it was an all right signing at first because it was on a free, but obviously his wages were quite high, which is the only problem when you see, free transfers. When Juve did it a while ago, and they're like, look at this, they will come on big wages. What you save in transfer budget and fees, you will make up for because you'll pay them more wages. But yeah, getting rid of those two and replace them with Damari Gray and Townsend does seem to be quite good. And it's made a difference. Irwin's put, who was the latest player we spent money on in January? We bought Townsend in January, if I'm not mistaken. I don't like buying in January. I've said this loads, and I will die on this. It's like buying a pint at a festival or sun cream on holiday. They know you need it. They know you want it. And they will rack the price up because they know you will pay it, most importantly. January transfer window is just buying a pint at a festival. It's incredibly overpriced, but you're going to pay it, aren't you? So, and everyone knows involved. The bartender knows you're going to pay. You know you're going to pay. You can moan about it all you like. Same with sun cream on holiday. When you go on holiday, they're always so expensive in the local shops because they know British people are going to pay because they'll burn otherwise. So I always stick by trying to avoid January. January's good for loans as well. Loans I don't mind in January. Actual buying of players, not keen on. Moji's put, I think he's put Josh King. Surely that's bait. You wouldn't have wanted Josh King another season, surely. Moji's put English young players is the route. Yeah, that would be good as well. It also obviously helps homegrown players as well. You don't need to, registering with the Premier League. You're only allowed so many players from, abroad and non-EU countries as well. And I think now Brexit has affected the registration of Premier League players as well. So it's all a bit messy. But yeah, the English players, you have none of that. So that's probably a really good way to go forward. English, but we hadn't done business in for years before that. Yeah, January's a tough time to buy, mate. I don't like it at all. Wemy's basically said he wants to buy for the future, which is a bit misdirect because we signed Townsend, Rondon, Bego, and Longerman. So I think it was just just being kind to Ore. Possibly, yeah, that possibly could be, instead of just saying Ore is not very good, I don't want him. But to be fair, if Aurier's not coming to Everton, he doesn't sort of have to appease his ego. Like, if he's not coming to Everton, Benitez could have gone, I don't think he's very good. I don't think Aurier will lose sleep on it in the end of the day. But that is good. That's what I want. I want buying for the future. I get what you mean, though. It's after signing the players he did, but I think that's just this season. I think Benitez is sort of assuming he will be manager next season, and that will be his method next season. Which we'll have to wait and see if that's the case. But if that's how he's going to do his business in the summer, I look forward to that. I think that's the way forward. We put Josh King wasn't a money signing. We had him on loan. do you have at least one friend from every club from Inky? Nearly, mate. Uni's brilliant, and if you do sports journalism, because they all like football and they're all from like God knows where in the UK, so it massively helps. And a lot of them supported lower league clubs. Like only a couple of Prem team supporters, including myself, which is brilliant because it means I can ask them what certain players are like further down that I don't watch and stuff like that. Wormy's put the Yuffie kid who had a bad ACL, maybe Onyango. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think it is on. Is it Onyango? I'm not too sure, mate. On what we mean. It'd be nice to see a couple of the Everton kids. Under 23s, not kids. A couple of the under 23s come through though. I think they're at a point now where we should really want to push them on. I'm a big believer that we should really be pushing our team on a little bit more. And there are a couple of lads in there that, could do with a couple of loan moves. First team football is what they need at a better level, and loan moves would provide that for them. Charlie Whittaker, I see quite a lot scoring. He wouldn't be an awful one to send out on loan and see what happens there. Obviously, Lewis Dobbins the one as well, but Whittaker seems to get a couple of goals for the under 23s, so he could be one worth looking at. I just think out on loan would do him good. Kyle John I quite like. He's from around near enough to me. I'd quite like to see him. Apparently he's got quite a bit of a rating about him, a bit of a buzz about him. So, and obviously we signed that young lad from Sunderland as well, Okaranko, and apparently he's quite good. So maybe that's the one for us, buying young English players. We had 5-1 and 1-0 in Angelotti's first game. No, we signed him on loan. We didn't pay money for him. Honest, we didn't pay 2 million for a player. Is this? I think you're on about Josh King. I thought we offered him a contract for 6 months and then we got rid of him. I thought that anyway. I might be wrong. Brighton player, young winger Lamb. I don't know who Lamb is. Unfortunately, mate. Sorry, emoji. Sean Collins has put we should sign Aurier just on loan till January. Who knows, might work out. I wouldn't mind Aurier if we were gonna offer him a Josh King deal just because we need a right back. But I don't think he's someone we should be giving any more than after this season too. At the worst, I mean, it's not the worst transfer in the world for a backup. Moju's on about Lamperty. I'd love Lamperty. He's a good player. I'd like Basuma as well from Brighton. Basuma's a really good player. I'd really like him. Walcott in January from Moji. I hope not, mate. Inky's put we bought Townsend and Walcott under Allardyce in January. Yeah, that's the window I was thinking. The last it's been put in by the Toffee Blues. Last permanent money signing was Genk Townsend and Theo Walcott for a combined 40.5, and I think that is an example of you overpay in January if ever there was one. They are not worth that type of money. We overpaid because they knew we needed it. Semi's put it, they'll rob you blind in the January transfer window. Sean Collins has put January sales is like going out for a burger when you've got steak at home. It is, mate. They see you coming a mile off. Gerard Brantwaite was in 2020, was the last money signing we made for 990k. I'd like to see Brantwaite play more, which I think he would, by the way, as we're on about youth. I think he'll play a couple more games. Wormy's put we haven't got a stake though. We've got pedigree chum. Moji's put our academy's put. I do agree we need to start seeing a lot more players coming through the ranks because we've got a lot of young players that we hear have a lot of potential, but we don't see that come through as much. And we do need to start using our academy a little bit better, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion, But yeah, we've got Semi-Chard saying, where are the fans that were on about how great Iwobi is? He's reverted to his true form. Rubbish. I've done my ratings for him, mate. think I gave him a 7 or a 6.5. It might have been a 7. I thought he just had an okay game. It wasn't the best game I've seen him play this season. Obviously, he's had better games. It's not the worst game I've seen him play football, though. Iwobi's another one we probably overspent on, but he's not an older player, but he is someone we overspent on. We just need to be a little bit. I hope that this sort of financial fair play trouble has shook the top of the hierarchy and sort of made them go, what we're doing isn't working. It is now badly affecting us. And if we're not careful, we will get caught out by this again. So we need to start being sensible with our money and not just lobbing it at the wall and seeing what sticks. So hopefully, hopefully financial fair play ruining a window where we could have picked up some good deals. As much as it's it's a pain to say. Maybe it's a good thing because it will teach us valuable less. Well, not us, but it will teach the people at the top a valuable lesson. So if that's the case, then that maybe that's a silver lining in all of this. John Collins has put Townsend's injured. If not, Rafa should give him a chance. Not like Hammers. He still is. I believe he still is injured, but he's a lot closer to being healthy again now than he was. I think he will play under Rafa. I don't know if he'll play well. I think he will probably get games under Rafa if DCL needs a rest or Rond. I don't know. Now we've got Rondon. It's sort of I'd rather him play younger lads. We put in the channel there. Rate Rafa's start as Everton manager out of 10. I'm interested to see your opinions. Like I pointed out before, we are joint on points with City at second and Chelsea and United. I don't think that's awful. Obviously, the best team we've played so far this season was probably. It was probably. It's a toss up between Leeds and Villa. Do you know what? Brighton could go top of the table tomorrow, but here or there. But Villa maybe are one of the better teams we've played. But we're still in a really good spot. I don't know why heads are falling sometimes because we're in a great spot at the minute. Mitchell Belzen's put 1 hour stream. Much appreciated. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. You guys are just as much of it as I am. The chats we have is fantastic. It keeps the stream going as well, and it's entertaining. It's nice to see your opinions. Moji put, why did Smalling leave? To go to the Serie A, I think it was more game time. But he seems to be doing quite well in the Serie A. Seems to be doing quite well. When he's put in 50 years, players will tell him, blinded by a shiny head of Delph as he wanders the halls of the treatment room wailing. Wormy's put Thierry Small Mo. Are you asking, do we get money for him? Because I think we're due compensation for him, which makes me sound like one of those adverts then. But we are due compensation, I believe. Moji put Iwobi was voted best something player from his teammates. Is this the training video Everton did? I think Iwobi was voted most skillful player at Everton a while ago. It might be that you're on about. I saw a lot of the lads say Iwobi's in training. He's got one of them said that. I think it might have been Kenny or Gordon. One of them said Iwobi's really skillful, then went in training, which here or there. But yeah, I've heard Iwobi's a very skillful player. He must just do rainbow flicks in training and hit them, or Balassi spins and McGeady spins. He must do some sort of like mad tricks in training if that's the case. Because I don't see him use a lot of skill. If any, he sort of just does that feint with his body. He just does a body feint most of the time. Which I don't know, maybe that is the most skillful player at Everton, but he must do some mad tricks in training. And when we put thinks he's well good, so he's gone to Southampton. All right, I get what you mean now. Mo was asking about Thierry Small. Yeah, he has gone to Southampton, but we are due money. I think it's. I don't want to. I believe it was rumored to be about 5 million. Sammy's put Villa beat United yesterday. They're in good form. Yeah, they are. They're starting to click a bit now, which is a bit of a obviously now we've played them. It's not much so much our worry anymore. Unfortunately, the click came during our game with us, but they do seem to click now. Mo's put he was offered a very good deal apparently. I imagine so, and I do believe this about Thierry Small. I think he'll get game time at some point. And Southampton he's more likely to play than us. We were playing in Kunku, and I think he overall in his career will get more of a chance to progress than he would have at us, which is sort of the problem with the academy that we're on about as well. But I think he will get more of a chance to play at Southampton. Mr. Blue Sky UK's but got to rate it 8 out of 10. Cup exit was gutted, but injury ridden, and Brand's not helped him at all. 8's a fair score. Yeah, I agree with that. Sean Collins has put 8 out of 10. The teams we faced aren't great. Not looking forward to United. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to United. And you know what? The pre-season game's still in my head, which is why we shouldn't have played a Premier League team, let alone United, in pre-season. Semis, but we turned down compensation for Small. Why would we have turned it down though? I don't understand. If that's true, I don't understand that. I don't understand why you turned down the compensation. But if that's true, mate, that's really silly. When we spotted Iwobi footed most trickiest, unfortunately not most end product. Yeah, I saw where he was most skillful, and all the lads were saying it. Semi's put he must be messy in training. He must be, obviously. Inky, see you later, mate. Irwin's put 6 out of 10, lost to QPR. United's a big test. Yeah, I think United is the one we're all watching. With one, sort of questionable. Let's see that. Irwin's put the Villa game was awful. Yeah, not good. But yeah, I mean, Godfrey shirts only come in XL. But yeah, I mean, United game I think is one where we'll all look at. It's the first big team we've played. Pardon me. And I think that's the sort of where we're looking. And hopefully we play. I will take a point. I've said it. I will take a point at Old Trafford. I mean, it's an awful result there. And I think cracks are starting to form in this United. I've said it. I don't rate Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a manager. And I think he's under a lot of pressure now. He's spent a lot of money. He's got one of the best players in the world. He sort of needs to be providing them with some sort of results now. Because you can't spend that type of money, have that type of caliber of players, and still blame, I get United fans don't like the owners and don't like, some of their recruitment, but they can't have that good of a squad now and blame other people like than the manager. I know they could probably do with another CDM. I don't really think Fred's that good, but their squad overall is a bit too good for excuses. Emoji's put need a draw minimum at United. I mean, I'll take a draw, but they have got very good players. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough game, and Old Trafford, it's going to be tough. Hopefully we can get a draw. I'd be very happy with that. But that is where I'm going to leave it today, guys. I just want to say thank you very much for joining the stream. Don't forget to like it as well before you go. I really appreciate it. You'll make my weekend as much as Everton winning, which is pretty high. But yeah, don't forget you can don't forget to like the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're not. I think most of you are, but yeah, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget you can get the all your Everton merchandise through the link in the description in our videos on YouTube. Check that out. If you're gonna buy them anyway, it massively helps out the channel, and we appreciate it. And most importantly, guys, stay safe, and I'll be seeing you very soon, probably in the week.